North Korea, inside one of the world's most secretive countries. North Korea is often described as one of the most isolated nations on Earth. For decades, the country has remained closed off from much of the outside world, making it difficult for journalists, researchers, and ordinary visitors to understand what daily life is really like. Because of this secrecy, North Korea has become the subject of countless stories, documentaries, and debates. While some details are difficult to verify independently, reports from international organizations, satellite imagery, defectors, and academic researchers have painted a picture of a country facing enormous political, economic, and humanitarian challenges. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, commonly known as North Korea, was established in 1948 after the Korean peninsula was divided following World War II. Since then, the country has been ruled by 3 generations of the Kim family. Today, the nation remains under the leadership of Kim Jong-un. Unlike many countries with competitive elections and multiple political parties, North Korea operates under a highly centralized political system where power is concentrated in the ruling leadership. One of the biggest reasons North Korea attracts global attention is its extreme secrecy. Very little independent information leaves the country, and foreign journalists have limited access. Most visitors can only travel under close supervision. Because of these restrictions, much of what the world knows comes from defectors, satellite images, official government statements, and investigations conducted by international organizations. According to numerous reports by the United Nations and major human rights organizations, freedom of speech and freedom of the press are heavily restricted. Citizens have limited access to outside information, and most people cannot freely browse the global internet. Instead, many use a government-controlled domestic network with carefully selected content. Foreign movies, television programs, books, and music are also tightly regulated. Another issue that has drawn worldwide concern is the country's prison system. A United Nations Commission of Inquiry reported allegations of political prison camps where detainees may face forced labor, harsh living conditions, and severe punishments. Because these facilities are closed to independent inspection, exact details are difficult to verify, but testimonies from defectors and satellite evidence have been central to international investigations. Daily life for ordinary citizens can also be challenging. North Korea has faced years of economic hardship due to a combination of international sanctions, limited trade, natural disasters, and domestic economic policies. These factors have affected food production and access to basic goods. International aid organizations have periodically warned about food insecurity and malnutrition affecting vulnerable parts of the population, particularly children and older adults. Travel is another area where restrictions are significant. Most North Koreans cannot freely leave the country, and internal movement may also require official permission. These limits are very different from the freedoms many people experience elsewhere in the world. North Korea's military is another defining feature of the country. It maintains one of the world's largest standing militaries relative to its population and has invested heavily in ballistic missile and nuclear weapons programs. These developments have led to international sanctions and ongoing tensions with countries including the United States, South Korea, and Japan. Supporters of the government's policies argue these programs are necessary for national security, while critics say they divert resources from the country's economic and humanitarian needs. Despite these challenges, it's important to remember that the people of North Korea are not defined solely by politics. Millions of ordinary citizens go to work, attend school, care for their families, celebrate holidays, and hope for better opportunities, just like people everywhere else. Because information is tightly controlled, it can be difficult to understand their everyday experiences in full, and broad assumptions about individual lives should be avoided. Over the years, many North Koreans have chosen to defect, risking dangerous journeys through neighboring countries in search of safety and greater freedom. Their personal stories have provided valuable insight into life inside North Korea, although each experience is unique and may not represent every citizen's circumstances. The future of North Korea remains uncertain. Diplomatic efforts have at times sought to reduce tensions and improve relations, while periods of confrontation have increased concerns about regional security. Many humanitarian organizations continue to advocate for better access to the country so they can provide aid and independently assess conditions. North Korea remains one of the least understood countries in the world. Its combination of political isolation, limited outside access, military development, and reported human rights concerns has made it a constant focus of international attention. At the same time, the country's secrecy means that careful reporting and credible evidence are essential. Understanding North Korea requires looking beyond headlines, recognizing both what is well documented and what remains uncertain, and remembering that behind every political story are millions of human lives.